Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Corey Baumeister with always the lovely people here at TCGplayer.com. Always bringing you the best in any trading card needs, Magic articles, Yu-Gi-Oh articles, you name it. So this week we're going to be diving into another standard list here. One that I think is arguably the most explosive deck. And at sometimes one of the most easily disrupted and kind of most vulnerable deck. It does come at a high price to pay when you play for such extreme power, that the fact that if you get your snake killed on 2, you get your servant killed, and you can't really snowball together these threats, that's what really struggles with this deck. It's just a bunch of dudes then, when other decks are going to control the game with like Scarab God and stuff. But if you can get that early draw where you go Snake on 2, Rishkar on 3 with a backup Blossoming Defense into a Hydra, you know, these games are ones that you run away with very easily. So let's walk through the mana base here first. Nothing stands out too much to me. Everything's pretty standard. You need these 8 fast lands here, and Aether Hub is surprisingly one of your best energies. I still think one of the best plays in Standard that can be done right now is a turn 1 Blooming Marsh, let's say, or a Foul Orchard, even a Swamp, into Aether Hub, into Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. That play is just so, against these God Pharaoh Gifts matchup, and against some of the control matchups, even up against a tokens deck that doesn't have a lot of spot removal, it just takes over the game. And I do firmly believe that this is the best Glint Siphoner deck, which I do believe is the best 2-drop in Standard. So that's what really gravitated me towards this instead of blue-black midrange for the GP this past weekend. I played this exact list. One change I may make. I don't know if it's for sure correct, but the Foul Orchard was one of your worst lands, but you really need your green and black sources, because look at all your double black spells, double green spells, double green. This deck is very mana intensive, and it strenuates it very hard. I could see adding another Fetid Pool instead of the Foul Orchard, but that's the only minor change. The deserts were great. Oasising a creature and then Hadana's climbing them for that extra point of, you know, even 18 to 20 damage in one turn. This deck really felt like it had a great aggressive draw, but it also felt at times like I was playing a combo deck. So it gives it a lot of play, and it gives you a big range of gameplay that you can play against different decks, and that's why I really liked it. So we'll move on. 1-drops, we got Blossoming Defenses here. This is a card that you almost always want to draw exactly 1. Anything more, and you're not putting enough on the board, and not drawing 1 sometimes is bad. You may lose your Siphoner to a Fatal Push when that Siphoner could easily win you the game. But I think 2 is the perfect number. It's just what has to be done. We got our 2-drops, 4 Snakes, 4 Servants, 4 Siphoners. Really no wiggle room there. These 2-drops are what make the deck. We got 2 Rishkars here. Another card that 2 is the perfect number because they are legendaries. And if you go turn 2 creature and they just like Fatal Push it, and you go turn 3 Rishkar, 3 mana 3/3 that adds a mana is not that impressive. So getting flooded on those is less than ideal. So here's the biggest change in the main deck, is Thrashing Brontodon. I'm playing 3 of this card instead of 3 or 4 Jadelight Rangers. And the reason is against a couple matchups. I've been playing against God Pharaoh's Gifts quite a bit more, and this card gives you a little bit of play where you can just leave open a mana and get their gift instead of having to, you know, hold up counter spells or have to depend on duresses to get them. It also has one very key number here, and that's the 4 defense. 4 toughness is very important right now. There's so many things that deal 3 to a creature that, especially being on the draw, playing a Brontodon against an aggressive red deck, let's say, or a tokens deck, it really bricks, you know, Adanto's Vanguards, Scroungers, it really bricks a lot with the 4 defense. And I do understand that the Snake and a Jadelight Ranger can be insane, but that's having to have those cards. That's them not having a Ballista in play so they could ping with the triggers on the stack. A lot has to go to right for Rangers to be better. So personally, I think Brontodon is better. Now we got Hadana's Climb. This is the card that really put this deck from being a deck that It was so-so, green-black. It kind of got pushed out by Teamer Energy, and it's made a comeback a little bit, but Hadana's Climb has turned this deck into an entirely different deck. It turns it into a deck that has so much more reach, and it's not just a tokens counter deck anymore. It's paired best with Bristling Hydras. Against blue-black or a Grixis deck, going Hydra into Hadana's Climb, as long as you have like another creature to make sure you don't get Doomfalled, is almost GG right there. It's just so hard for decks to deal with. You can kill on turn 5 with this pretty easy. For Contempt, because it is the best removal spell. One thing you'll notice is I do not play any Fatal Push in the main. I got a couple in the board, but the card just is not great, and you don't want to load up on too much removal, because you really need to be playing your creatures turn 2, turn 3, one after another, so they snowball on your opponent. Also, Walking Ballista, in a sense, is kind of like a Fatal Push. The 2-drops you very much care about killing is your opponent's Siphoners, and Ballista still does that on 2, and, you know, if we do a Snake into a Ballista, it's a Fatal Push that keeps on giving. So I think the no Fatal Push is correct here. Of course, 2 Gearhulks. You don't want to load up on 5s, because it is tricky to get to 5 mana sometimes. All right, we'll move on to the sideboard here. All right, so we got those 2 Fatal Pushes I was talking about, mostly for aggressive decks. They're great against the mirror. 4 Duress. 4 might seem like a lot, but this deck really can't support counter magic very well, so you kind of have to depend on going Duress into a creature, into another creature, and duressing away their Fatal Push that would really interrupt your sequencing. So I think that's a very important thing against heavy removal decks. 2 Cartouche of Ambition. Slap this card on a Bristling Hydra and just, you know, have a blast. Just enjoy the rest of your day against mono red, because it's going to be an easy match from there on out. The card is just really busted against tokens as well. Tokens, mono red, red black. It's really an all-star. 1 Lost Legacy here. I can see playing a Dispossess instead of this if you're more afraid of God's Pharaoh's Gift, which our metagame is shaping up to look like it's more God Pharaoh's Gift than Approach. So I could see changing this to a Dispossess, really whatever your metagame calls for. If it's more Approach, play Lost Legacy. If it's more God's Pharaoh's Gift and even Torrential Gearhulks, play a Dispossess. We got 2 Scavengers, very good against blue-black X decks, also good against God Pharaoh's Gift. It's just a good creature when, let's say on the draw, Rishkar gets a lot worse. So we take that out on the draw a lot. And Scavenger is just a good play to play instead of that. The 4th Brontodon, another great creature on the draw to stop those aggressive decks that attack for 3. Vanguard, Scroungers, you know, any really aggressive deck like that. Also great against God Pharaoh's Gift. We got 1 God. For the mirror, against mono red when you're on the play, it doesn't come in a bunch, but the card is still the most powerful card in Standard. There's no reason to not play at least 1, in my opinion. And then the 2 Carny Boys. This card is very, very powerful at dealing with blue-black control, blue-black mid-range. As long as they don't have too many Aetherborns, that becomes a bit of a problem. But it's just a card that goes over the top when they've spot removaled your other creatures. Alright, well thanks for watching the deck tech. Let's get to the fun part and play some games. Alright, see you soon.